How to review your invoices like an Amazonian. I'm going to tell you how you need to look at your invoices before you send them over to Amazon for an inauthentic suspension or any other problem you might have with your account or a listing. These are the things that we've compiled by cross-examining Amazon's executives, by cross-examining one of Amazon's lawyers, by interviewing Amazon's former staff. And what I love most of all is the information that I was able to obtain by going to India and hanging outside of Amazon's office buildings, where I personally interviewed dozens of Amazon staff in Hyderabad, India. Through all of these efforts and through helping thousands of sellers every year and tens of thousands of listings and products, we have compiled a list of how to look at invoices before you send them to Amazon. When it comes to invoices, they're almost all the same design. You have your supplier, your distributor's name either on the left-hand side or on the top with their letterhead and their address. Your information is either on the right-hand side or below the distributor's information. And then there's a host of other information that appears on practically every single invoice. And I'm going to go through them now one by one, what you need to look at, how you need to examine them to make sure Amazon cannot poke holes in your invoices. First, if you're buying goods from a distributor or a supplier to resell on Amazon, you want to have a pre-printed invoice. You don't want something handwritten or one-off or generated as a Word document. You want a document that's a pre-printed invoice. These types of documents work better when you have to submit them to Amazon. And as we all know, submitting documents to Amazon, submitting a plan of action is nothing more than an exercise in persuasion. You have to persuade the person reading these things and looking at your invoices to reinstate your listing or reinstate your account. When it comes to the supplier name, you don't want that supplier's name to have the word liquidator in it. If your supplier is still using the word liquidator in his or her title on his invoices or her invoices, you need to start sourcing someplace else. Amazon hates when you buy products from liquidators and sell it on Amazon.com or their platforms anywhere else in the world. When it comes to the supplier's information, you have to make sure there's an address on that invoice. And before you send it to Amazon, you should Google Earth that address and make sure it shows up as a commercial establishment, a warehouse, a storefront, an office building, something so that if Amazon staff in India should do the same thing, they are going to see a commercial establishment on Google Earth. The supplier's phone number should absolutely be on every single invoice you submit to Amazon. Number one, it demonstrates legitimacy. Number two, Amazon staff will actually call that supplier to confirm that the invoice is real and that you are a customer of theirs, that you bought goods from them. And more distributors all over the United States know that if they want to sell to Amazon sellers, they better take Amazon's phone calls when they're calling to check up on the source of your product. You want to make sure that your supplier has an internet presence. You want to make sure the domain is on the invoice if you can, or that their website is under the same name that the invoice is issued. Again, on that pre-printed form, you want to make sure that Amazon can simply go online and see your supplier has a website, and hopefully that website has links back to the brand of goods that you're sourcing from that distributor. You want to make sure that if there's no link on their website, there is a way that Amazon can easily link your distributor back to the branded goods that you are selling. This can often be done through your own investigation, and we have literally sent private investigators and our own clients back to their supplier to sit outside and take pictures of branded trucks dropping off supplies. You want to make sure Amazon can link your supplier back to the brand or the manufacturer. The next section of any invoice is your information or the purchaser's information. And here are some things we learned from Amazon, and some make sense and some are absolutely ridiculous and silly. First, the name of the purchaser on that invoice should match your Amazon account if at all possible. If it doesn't match the name of the Amazon storefront, make sure that that invoice matches either the corporate name that runs or operates the Amazon account or your name if you're listed on the Amazon account. You better make sure that the person or company that bought those goods does not have their own Amazon account, or guess what? Amazon will use that invoice to link you to that other account and suspend both of them or all of them for related accounts. You also want to make sure that your address on the invoice matches the address that Amazon has for you. If it's a different address, Amazon staff may do some research and find another seller's account under that other address. Here's something that is utterly ridiculous, because as we all know that over the years we have multiple email addresses. I still have my original AOL address and it works flawlessly. When it comes to your invoices, you want to make sure that if your email address is on that invoice, if the invoice was emailed to you, that that email address is the same exact email address that is on your Amazon account. We know it's silly. Amazon witnesses confirm that they're aware that many people, that most people have multiple email addresses, but Amazon will look at that email address as a significant portion of the veracity of your invoice. So if there is an email address for you on your invoice, make sure that is the same email address you have for your Amazon account. If the name of your business is the same as a domain name that you use to sell the products direct to consumers, you want to make sure that if Amazon should go to your website and see the same products, that you're not selling the products at a price lower than what you're selling them on Amazon. Rumor has it that the DOJ, the Department of Justice for the United States of America, was investigating Amazon for possible antitrust issues when Amazon required you to have the lowest price for consumers on Amazon.com, and so they took that out of their terms of service. Here's some things you also need to be aware of when it comes to your invoices. The number of units on that invoice has to match more or less what you sent in to Amazon. It certainly can be more because you may have other avenues to sell products, but it certainly should not be less than the number of units you sent to FBA or the number of units that you sold on Amazon if you're doing merchant fulfilled. Also, while Amazon says it's okay to cross out or black out information, Amazon's witnesses at arbitrations have testified that they absolutely hold that against you. So don't redact, don't black out anything at all, specifically the number of units that were purchased. Also, when it comes to the dates of the invoice, you have to make sure the dates make sense. If you sent the products in on January 1st, your invoice can't be from February 1st. It can't post-date delivery. So make sure the dates make sense. Another issue when it comes to the dates on your invoice, I want to make sure that you're sending Amazon invoices that fit into the period of time that Amazon is asking. Sometimes they ask for invoices during specific periods of time. Sometimes it's as broad as the last 365 days. Do your best to get invoices that match the dates that Amazon is looking for. If you think about that person in Hyderabad or the person in Bangalore looking at your invoices in response to Amazon's request, you want to make it easy for that person. They call them freshers because they're fresh out of college. And these are the people that I spoke to in India. You want to make sure that that Amazon team member can easily check the box that says you sent in invoices for the period of time that Amazon was asking about. Prices. The prices that you paid wholesale to then resell the product on Amazon. Amazon policy says that you can cross them out. Amazon forums say you can cross it out. I am telling you, as a lawyer who cross-examined countless Amazon executives and employees, do not cross out the pricing. Amazon holds it against you. When it comes to the pricing, you want Amazon to see it. You also want to make sure that the prices that you paid for the inventory make sense on the wholesale market. If you are buying mugs like my ASL mug right here, and generally wholesale prices run from 75 cents to 99 cents per unit, you don't want Amazon to see that you're paying a penny. It doesn't make any sense. You want your wholesale cost to be within the realm of what is realistic for that product. Now, we also know that Amazon will often use the data you provide to get into certain products. I still think you must provide Amazon with invoices with prices that make sense, from suppliers that make sense, and if Amazon uses that information against you, I think you're going to have to roll with the punches. This is specifically how to look at invoices like an Amazonian, so don't cross out the prices you paid, and certainly make sure the prices that you paid for your inventory make sense in the marketplace. Second to last issue we're going to talk about, and it goes to the fonts on the invoices. Now this might seem absolutely ludicrous because Amazon sellers cannot control the fonts of the pre-printed forms that suppliers give to you as invoices. So if you get an invoice from one of your suppliers and it's all different fonts, give that invoice back and say, hey, I need a different invoice in case I need to send this into Amazon because I got an inauthentic listing suspension or an inauthentic account suspension. You need the fonts to match. Amazon holds it against you. If your invoice doesn't indicate that you actually made payment on the products, Amazon does not consider that invoice to be an invoice. Amazon will look at that invoice and call it a purchase order. So your invoices should show that you made payment. Or if you're submitting an invoice that does not indicate that you paid for the goods, then you should also submit a document that shows payment. If you wired the money, get your documents from your bank. If you pay by credit card, attach your credit card payment for that invoice. If you paid by check, attach a copy of the canceled check. And if you're doing that, any document you submit to Amazon should have the same information and everything should match. Thank you for staying with me till the end of how to look at your invoices like an Amazonian. If you have any questions, any concerns, contact me. We will do our best to guide you in how to handle plans of action and appeals yourself, how to look at your invoices, or you can always hire us. My team in New York is the world's best at writing plans of action and the world's best at looking at invoices like an Amazonian. We are available to sellers 7 days a week, from the beginning of business Monday morning in New York to the close of business in California. You can reach me, you can reach my staff, and I just have a remarkable team of professionals who are 1,000% devoted to Amazon sellers.